I'm Kyle.
This is Steven.
Together we host a show called
Boar Meets World.
Tell them what we cover on Boy Meets World.
Boy Meets World.
But that's not all, is it?
No.
No, we cover life experiences. Ours. Oh, son of a... Alright, just check out the show, please. We really need it. Okay? We need a win. Just check us out. We talk about the show Boy Meets World. Each episode of our show, we run parallel with an episode of Boy Meets World where we will examine the show.
That's way too much.
What happens, you know, our life, how it relates to it, experiences.
I can't believe you're still recording.
I am recording this. Check it out, guys. You'll get some hilarious stories from me and Steven from our childhood. You'll get a great... I lost it.
This podcast is part of the Big Heads Media Podcast Network. Go to bigheadsmedia.com for more great podcasts.
Hey everyone, you're wasting time with Chris, Beth, and Matt. My name is Chris Williams. With me, as always, are
Beth Golpe.
And
Matt December.
How are you guys?
Doing great, doing well.
Doing so good.
I'm doing awesome.
I'm so glad to hear that.
I'm doing awesome because it's my favorite episode.
Oh, this is my favorite.
This is one of my favorite ones to do. Beth, what about you?
I know that question means.
I'm hit or miss on the it's my favorite episode.
Oh, okay.
No. I love it. It's, like old times, guys.
Well, this is the episode where we talk about our favorite pop culture of the moment. And so, yeah.
Okay.
We do this every month. That's great.
Wow, okay.
So I will get started, I guess.
Yeah, that sounds good, Chris.
I love it.
Yeah, wow, we are off to a great start this week. My favorite so far has been, I just finished the second season of the HBO comedy Barry.
Oh.
This is a show that, like I said, just finished its second season. I watched most of the first season a year ago. It stars Bill Hader as a hitman named Barry, who kind of finds new meaning to his life when he takes an acting class. His acting coach is played by Henry Winkler. His handler is played by Stephen Root. And I watched the first episode, most of it, when it aired. And then, like we talked about in one of the last episodes, it was literally a show I forgot about.
Yeah.
For about a year. Yeah. And, Matt, I knew you had finished the first season.
I did, correct.
And about a week ago, I started hearing all these good things about how season 2 ended. So I'm like, I guess I should finish Barry, but I thought I had 4 episodes left. I only had 2 episodes left of the first season.
They're only 8 episodes.
Yeah, it's a quick watch.
So I finished those 2 in one sitting, and then I binged through the whole season in probably about 3 or 4 days. It was a pretty quick binge for me. I really like this show. I think it's very funny. It's very dark, sometimes in the same scene. It's very graphically violent in some scenes. It's very funny in some scenes. Sometimes it's very sweet. I think Bill Hader is fantastic. I always liked him on Saturday Night Live. And I think he does some dramatic work here that is really, really surprising.
Yeah, it's very good. Yeah.
Which shouldn't be surprising because I had seen him in The Skeleton Twins, where he's also very
I was going to ask
Kristen
if
Wiig,
either of you had seen that.
He's very good in that. Henry Winkler, who I think is always very funny, is extremely funny in this show.
Yeah, he's very good. Yeah.
This show picks up... We're going to spoil the first season. So this show picks up right after the end of the first season, where Barry thought he was free of his life of crime, and then his acting coach's girlfriend, who's a cop, found out, kind of put together that he had been behind all these deaths that had happened over the first season, and so he killed her. So it picks up kind of in the wake of that, exactly in the wake of that. And Henry Winkler kind of has some new things to do as he's processing that grief. I really like Stephen Root this season.
Yeah, he's very good this season, yeah.
He's always so good in everything he's in.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite is Anthony Carrigan, who plays NoHo Hank.
Oh, yeah.
Who's just the cheeriest mobster you'd have ever met.
Yeah.
And he cracks me up. Yeah, I mean, this is a really good show. It's very funny, like I said. I think it actually deals with kind of deep themes of, like, humanity and trying to be a different person and whether you can escape your past. But, like, in its best moments, I think it makes me feel that panicky feeling that Breaking Bad did when Breaking Bad was on a tear.
Yeah, I can see that, yeah.
There are stretches of this show that just get insane.
Yeah.
And you don't know how he's going to get out of this situation. And it's funny and kind of just nerve-wracking at the same time. Matt, I know you watch this show, right?
Yes. So I actually raced through season 2 this week myself. I watched the whole thing in 3 days, and I actually liked it more than season 1 because I feel like the show does a better job of kind of figuring out how to use those like kind of tonal shifts.
I'd agree.
I think the first season sometimes it works well, and I felt like there was a couple episodes that it didn't work quite as well. And again in season 1, but I think mostly season 2, it's all really well done. Like the funny stuff is really funny, and the dark stuff is really dark, and it's really good. And the one episode that's like the 5th episode is probably one of my favorite episodes of television in recent memory. It's like I like the comparison to Breaking Bad because it's just like so the whole episode is just so like hectic and frantic and it's really like a very like small moment in the show involving kind of like one thing that's happening. But it kind of spirals out of control pretty quickly, and it's kind of how these characters are kind of dealing with it, and it's really, really good. So I really liked it, and just Bill Hader. I can't get enough Bill Hader in my life.
Yeah, no, he's great. He directs 2 episodes in this season.
Oh, he does?
He directed episode 5, and
good.
he directs the finale.
Oh, wow.
What a man of many talents, eh, guys?
And episode 5 is one of those ones, it feels different than any of their episodes. The camera work is a little bit different, and it's just kind of this unending... I don't want to say a nightmare, but I guess for the characters it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
But it's also extremely funny.
Yeah.
I think you're right about it shifting tone so much better. Like, I thought... The first season I liked, but you could definitely feel when it was suddenly switching gears from comedy to drama.
Yeah.
And they didn't really mix real well.
No.
And the second season, I think, like, there's some dark stuff that all the characters deal with from, like spousal abuse, things like that. Questions about death, reconnecting with loved ones. And there's sometimes in, like, the same moment, very funny, very sad, very dramatic, and then... something will break out in a huge action sequence. Yeah. And, I love this show. I think it was just renewed for a 3rd season.
Yes, I believe you're right.
It's one of those shows that I kind of get afraid about a 3rd season, or any other seasons, because it walks such a tightrope of this show should not work.
Right, yes.
That I almost don't want to see more, except that I really want to see more.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely feels like one of those shows that's got, like, a very limited shelf life before it gets, before, like, it kind of feels to me like, if I could compare it to something, it would be, what's that other HBO show with the guys, the startup company?
Oh, Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley. It feels to me like Silicon Valley in that I feel like Silicon Valley had like kind of a short shelf life, and I feel like that's a show that's like, I think it's overstayed.
Yeah,
it's
I think it's
for sure,
100%. 6 seasons.
Yeah, okay, well that's good. I think it probably should have had its last season like 2 seasons
ago. Yeah.
So I could see Barry kind of wandering into that realm if it sticks around too long, but yeah, that's really good.
Well, one thing I heard him talk about the show, I heard an interview where they said they wanted every season to kind of be like it was this true crime podcast that would always end on a giant cliffhanger, and you just couldn't believe how crazy the story got. So I started thinking, Beth, you listen to a lot of those podcasts. So do you watch Barry? Have you seen?
I watched the first season and loved it. And then, as we've discussed, there's no reason I haven't watched the second one besides that, like, I know once I start it, I'll finish it. You know what I mean? It's just, like, on my, in my queue, as they say.
It's crazy, because wasn't it right after Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
did everyone just get so exhausted by Game of Thrones? They
100%. It really took it. Game of Thrones really took it out of me because I would be like anxious all day about it, and then 9 to 10, and then it's bedtime. So I gotta go to bed.
I think you'd like it, Beth.
I'm super excited. I was in like a real having a real Bill Hader moment after that first season. Like, you know, I rearranged my celebrities I would meet in a bar.
You moved up your crush list,
he moved up my
do list or whatever.
I don't know what you would call it, but
your
to-do
list.
My to-do list. Yeah, he bumped off someone to get on it.
Who did he bump off?
Benedict Cumberbatch.
Wow, that's really weird.
There's some physical similarities to those two guys.
Yeah.
They are. I like weird-looking guys, but my husband's very handsome.
He's very handsome. That's funny. All right.
Well, I think we just found another topic for our next
Yeah,
Beth, what are you liking this week?
Well, I just finished the book, and I actually listened to the audio version of Chase Darkness with me because I really like Billy Jensen's voice, the author's Billy Jensen. Not his like writing voice, like I actually like his speaking
like literal voice.
Yes, because he also hosts a podcast called The Murder Squad with Paul Holes, who that hashtag hot for holes. That's a real hashtag on Twitter. He is a retired FBI agent who is super hunky. Actually, I'll show you guys a picture of him. That's him, the retired FBI agent.
Yeah,
he helped solve the Golden State Killer murder.
Oh, that's this guy.
So,
okay, as I said, the Holes name's familiar.
Yeah, so Billy Jensen helped finish Michelle McNamara's book, I'll Be Gone in the Dark. You know, that's Patton Oswalt's wife, who had a very sudden and untimely death in her sleep in her mid-40s.
Oh, right, yes.
She was writing this book about the Golden State Killer, who she was, like, obsessed with. Billy Jensen and her were both just, like, crime junkies and would get together and talk about it. And he helped finish her book after she passed away.
Okay.
Billy Jensen met Paul Holes they met at her memorial and kind of, like, hooked up and were talking. And so they're both Paul Holes solves cold cases like in his free time because he's kind of like that.
Yeah.
And anyways, now they have this podcast called The Murder Squad where they talk about cold cases and then how you as the listener can help solve them using, it's sort of like, I'm sort of getting distracted, but like by YouTube being assholes.
You keep saying
You're the one who keeps saying holes.
It's his name. It's the man's name.
He hooked up with holes.
Oh my god.
Anyway, go
So
ahead.
Billy Jensen is a crime journalist, like a true crime journalist, okay, who got tired of just writing about crime that never, like, all these unsolved murders, and started using Facebook campaigns to help solve murders, like, in his free time. So he would...
How does that work?
So he explains it in this book that I just finished, Come Chase Darkness with Me, where he explains, like, he goes through about a dozen of his cases that he helped solve, and then how you could do it if you wanted to do it on your own. But basically, it's like he would find a cold case that had video footage or a picture of a suspect. And it's just like, especially in places like with high murder rates, his first one he solved was in Chicago. It's like there's so many murders that they sort of can't keep up.
Okay.
So his first murder that he solves is a guy that just a sort of drunk homeless guy is following him harassing him when he leaves a 7-Eleven. This homeless guy ends up punching this guy in the face and knocks him unconscious. He falls in the street and gets run over by a taxi and killed.
Oh, that's terrible.
I know. So it's all on video. So the first thing Billy Jensen's first murder is he just does a close-up of this guy's face, does a Facebook ad, pays, out of his pocket, and says, like, does anyone know this person? Chases, people will respond, chasing down leads, homeless shelters. He gathers all this information, sends it to the police, and they arrest him.
Wow.
So it's much longer and more complicated than that. His stories, it took like 9 months for the whole thing to come together. Mm-hmm. And because the police are very busy and they don't want, like, citizen detectives solving crimes, it's kind of obnoxious.
Yeah, it is.
But he solved tons of cold cases, and he's very passionate, and it comes across in his writing. And it's just a really cool book. If you're into true crime, it's it's just a lot of different stories about true crime and how actual murders get solved. And
that's neat. That sounds like a fun.
Yeah.
Read. That sounds like a fun read.
Yeah, there's a lot of it's very like. I do this stuff in like binges and spurts because I'm getting close to the point where now I've watched, within the last month, I've watched like the Ted Bundy tapes, and I've been listening to a lot of true crime. I just finished this book. My husband was gone last night, and I was like,
terrified.
Well, yeah, it was to the point where there was like a 20-something kid that came to the door to sell. He's been in our neighborhood, like selling like what I can only describe as like the old like Encyclopedia Britannica, like people used to sell door to door.
Yeah, I don't want that.
Only for kids, like for little kids. It's like a set of books. Anyways, he came to the door, and I was like, Grayson, don't answer the door. I was pretty sure he was coming back to kill us. It was like 8 p.m., which like, what are you doing?
Way too late.
Right.
That's
like
hustle.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm getting to the point where I have to like calm down on this stuff. But if you like Murder Squad, and you like Billy Jensen, if you like My Favorite Murder, if you liked the Golden State Killer case or Michelle McNamara's book, I'll Be Gone in the Dark, which is spectacular, you'll like it because he helped write and finish that book.
Excuse me.
And as you know, like, he does talk a bit about, because a lot of it is cold cases and how he gets them resolved or not resolved. And like sort of, there's a lot of stuff where he knows who did it and he sends it to the police and he just never hears from them, and he calls himself a victim's advocate. That's how he describes himself. Like when he is talking, he gets lots of mostly like parents of murdered kids that email him and whatever.
Yeah.
But anyways, it is very good, but he describes the moment when they caught the Golden State Killer, which is really powerful because he helped finish that book, and the book was a huge success. And then this guy who had been killing people since the 70s, they ended up catching 6 months after this book comes out. It's pretty bananas. So it's good. Bananas. It's interesting.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking up this book on Amazon right now, and it tells me I cannot order it until August. So how did you read it?
Well, it's an Audible exclusive.
Really?
So maybe
yes,
you can only do the audiobook.
That is crazy.
On
You
Audible.
can only get it if you have an Audible membership.
Oh.
So if you guys
because
like
I
Audible
heard him
memberships-
hawking it on his podcast, and I thought, he has a very charming voice, so I was like, I'll give it a...
Was this you're talking about the Holes guy?
Billy Jensen. No. Paul Holes does have a charming voice, but he's not the author of the book. Matt.
Oh, okay.
Matt, what's your favorite? I'm getting all croaky and...
Yeah, I was going to say, we got to get some more tea in you.
Gosh, you've had the same cold for a whole week.
I know. So what I have been loving lately, or what is it? It's my favorite?
Yeah.
It's whatever. You've been loving it lately. It's your favorite lately.
Is the Netflix sketch comedy show I Think You Should Leave with Tim Robinson. It is that's 6 episodes. The runtime for the 6 episodes is between 16 and 18 minutes. The show stars Tim Robinson, who you might know. He was a writer on Saturday Night Live, but he was on a few sketches. I
didn't know that.
Yeah. He was on The Detroiters with our other dear friend Sam Richardson. And Tim Robinson, I believe, he's from Michigan. He's from, I think... Clarkston, yeah. So anyway, this show was on Netflix. All 6 episodes came out at the same time. And like I said, it's got a sketch comedy show, and so it's got a bunch of guest stars. Sam Richardson again, Will Forte, Andy Samberg, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's a pretty quick watch. And what you will find is either you'll watch the first one, which I think probably is the best episode, but I think all 6 of them are funny. If you like the first one, you're going to like all 6 of them. If you don't like the first one, you will not like any of them. They're very repeatable. I've watched through the entire thing probably 6 times.
Oh, wow.
How many times have you watched through it?
I watched it twice.
Okay.
I watched most of them twice. I haven't binged through the whole thing again, but I've gone back and watched certain sketches several times.
I've seen the first episode, and one skit in particular that my husband just played a lot.
What was the one he played a lot?
The one with the chicks at brunch. So
that's the first episode.
Stupid. I know. I said and that. So, but that
Bear?
particular skit I've seen 100 times.
And you don't think it's funny?
It's not that funny.
It's
pretty funny.
Okay. And this show is stupid. It like makes me angry. It like makes me angry like that Eric Andres guy makes me angry.
Hey, no,
and
that's silly.
Tim and Eric.
So it's like absurdist, right? And it's like
it's dumb. I'm like mad at myself for laughing. I laugh like the whole time I'm watching it, and then I get so mad.
we watched
at
an episode before we started recording.
I know, and I was
one sketch, and she laughed,
cackling the whole time. It's so stupid. Why is it funny? It's so dumb.
Because it's absurd and it goes on too long, and it's.
There are few things funnier than watching Tim Robinson get angry.
And he's a very good yeller.
Did either of you watch Detroiters?
Yes.
I loved Detroiters.
He was so good in it. It was such a good show.
Yeah, really, such a good show. So we just finished Veep last week. You know, it just wrapped up, and
Sam Richardson. Is
he's in some skits in this too. Yeah,
yes, 2 sketches. Yeah.
Have you found, Matt, that because I found the sketches get funnier the more you watch them?
Yes, I'll agree with that. Yeah.
Like, I think the first time I was really paying attention to where is the sketch going to go, and then the second time I just stop and like there's just certain lines that I find like really funny.
Yeah.
There's the one where you said it's one of your least favorites, but it makes me laugh. The game show sketch.
Oh, that's what Andy Samberg. Yeah.
And the mascot who kind of comes on and doesn't know what he's doing.
Yeah.
But there's just a part where he's like, Tim Robinson guy's like, "You had all summer to think of this." I don't know why I find that funny, but
that's good. That's funny.
It's really funny. You shouldn't have had such a sloppy mud pie. The use of the word mud pie on this show is my favorite thing.
It's funny. It's like one of those things where they use, and this is like I don't know what this is, but they'll use words like mud pie. That's not the only time that they use the word mud pie in that episode, but they use it in a way that it's like everyone, like that's like a common vernacular.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's like it's in the
That's what's funny.
Like, oh, everyone calls taking a big sloppy poop a mud pie.
So gross.
Sorry, I don't know. That's so funny, and I'm like, yeah, it's really good. It's certainly among my favorite sketch comedy from recent years. I hope. I don't know if the plan is to make more seasons, more episodes. I haven't really read anything about that, but I really hope they do. Because I like Tim Robinson a lot, and yeah, I find it incredibly rewatchable and funny.
There's some great people who pop up in it too, like Will Forte.
Yeah,
Fred Willard is really
Fred Willard's in one. He's really funny. I really like Connor O'Malley is in 2 sketches, and he played Tim's brother on the episode on Detroiters. He is in the sketch, the honking, like, Tim's driving a car with a bumper sticker that says, honk if you're horny, and Connor O'Malley is in a car behind him, and he sees the sign, and then he doesn't stop honking for a very long time.
Oh my God.
And so he's really funny. Yeah, it's very good.
The premise of every sketch is pretty much, what if someone just couldn't stop doing something? Like
that's really it. Yes,
they just push everything as far as they can, and it goes to some weird places.
Yeah.
There's the focus group one, the car focus group with the
that one's really funny.
The old like Spanish guy.
Yeah,
it's stinky.
Yeah, he's really funny. He's really cherishing his time on the spotlight. He's really hamming it up in every line. It's good.
It's produced by Lonely Island, right?
Yes, Akiva Schaffer is involved in some capacity. I know he directed at least. He directed.
Is Andy Samberg in some?
He's in one episode.
Oh, I love him.
Have you guys seen the unauthorized Bash Brothers experience on Netflix, the Lonely Island?
No, I've not watched it yet.
I will say, I almost had that as my favorite this month.
Oh.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
It's 30 minutes, and it's well worth your time.
Well, we'll watch that. I'll watch that next.
Yes, it's pretty great. That's a good one. Those are all good ones this month.
They were good.
that it?
That was
Was
a
that
good month. That was a good month.
That was a good month.
Well, what do you guys like?
You listeners, what do you like? Tell us your favorites.
We want to know.
Beth, I believe we have an email site too, right?
We do. It is a site. You can send us an email. Hold on, let me Chris can edit this. He's really good at it. HelloWastingTimePodcast@gmail.com.
And if that's a lot for you to remember, you can also go to our Facebook page and click on the send us a message link, and it goes right to that email. Give Beth some time to sort through all the emails we're receiving.
But listen, I promise.
We'll get to them.
I'll get to you eventually. Don't give up on us.
And what are you liking? Like I said, what are you liking? Go to Facebook. Tell us. Find us on Twitter. Matt, where can people find you on Twitter?
At Matt December.
Oh, I thought maybe there would be some numbers or letters or anything.
No, it's just Matt
Matt
December.
There's only one in the world, baby. You're
All
talking
right.
to him.
You can find me at unicornfood.com. That's my website, and that's YOU, unicornfood.com.
You are the corn.
And all my socials are on there.
You can find me writing about movies at MichiganSportsAndEntertainment.com. You can find my other podcast, We're Watching Here, every other Friday at Big Head Media. And you can find me on Twitter at Mere Christianity. You can find old podcasts at BigHeadsMedia.com. Find us on Twitter. Find us on Spotify. Find us on iTunes. If you find us on iTunes, please give us a rating. Let us know how we're doing. Give us some stars. We would greatly appreciate it. Mm-hmm. And we will be back next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much for listening.